Hello everybody and welcome to another toy review. I decided to finally get around to taking a look at my Microman Bio Machines. Now I've had these for quite some time. I was actually gifted them by a good friend, and unfortunately time has not been kind. They have started to disintegrate. The boxes and cards are just falling apart, but it looks to me like the toys are intact and absolutely stunning. And now, if you don't know anything about Microman, that was a toy line that was around in 1974, and these are the revival versions from 2004. Oh, God. Didn't seem 5 minutes ago that I was given these, and they're already older than my eldest son. That's scary. Now, each of these sets includes a figure and a vehicle, and if you know me, you know I love my combining figures, and this is what the vehicles do. The vehicles combine to form a mech. Let's start off with BM01, because he's the one where the card is actually disintegrated away from the plastic. And let's just take a look at the actual card itself. You've got the schematics here of the mech, and we just got some details there. Look, he's got some armor on here, and yes, these are very posable indeed. What cracking figures. So let's pull this out. People are probably grimacing, saying, no, don't open it, Ben, don't open it. It's a toy. Toys are meant to be played with. Oh, his arm has already fallen off. So let's see. Let's hope it's in here. Yes, it is. Right, the vehicle is here. Let's just get these out of the packet. Move that to one side. Now let's just put his arm back on. Oh. No! Now, unfortunately, his arm is made of a translucent plastic, and it's actually disintegrated. It's fallen apart out of the box. It's just cracked open. So the poor guy is left with only one arm. Really nice head sculpt there, done in the chrome. Very nice reflective chrome red paint as well. Nice metallic. The head, look at the movement on these. Absolutely superb. Arms, fragile, but we have a ball joint on there. Nice butterfly joints. Come up to the side. Upper bicep rotation, double jointed bend at the elbow. Please don't break. Please don't break. There we go. Double jointed bend on the elbow. Rotation on the wrist. Pivot on the hand. Lovely abdominal rotation there, up and down. And we also have an abdominal crunch. Nice six-pack going on there. And legs can come forwards and backwards, out to the side. Upper thigh rotation. A double jointed knee, but don't break, don't break, don't break. There we go. Double jointed knee. And up and down, no left and right, and slight pivot on those legs. So these really are very highly posable figures. I'm just absolutely gutted that his arm fell off straight out of the package. Here's the base stand. It's a nice translucent plastic. It says Micro Size Action Figure Series, Microman since 1974. Have a circular and a hexagonal peg there. So the hexagonal is for his foot. This one's too big for his foot, so I'm assuming that would be for one of the vehicles, possibly, or maybe the mech. We get a flurry of different hands. We get the closed fist, the open grip, we get a trigger finger hand, we get a chopping hand, and we get kind of an open stopping palm strike. We get those for both hands, and unfortunately we don't get any spare arms, and the hands are nice and simple to change out. You just rotate them and pull. I will glue this. It looks like it's just time has been unkind, unfortunately. I'll just glue that together, and hopefully that should be pretty much good as new, he says. I like how the instructions for these double up as a story. You can see them all fighting there. We get the machine Mirror, Machine Stinger, Machine Tiger, Machine Kong, and the Bio Suit, which is formed from all of those. And we get the different action series as well. Some nice looking figures there that I'd be absolutely terrified to do anything with. We've got Micro Lady on the back there. We've got Acro Lady, Master Force, not to be confused with Transformers Master Force, and Acro Year X. Some pretty funky looking bits and pieces there, and we get a warranty card. I assume that's probably a bit late for that. And we get some instructions for our machine mirror as well. Now, I've checked through some of the other instructions and the magazines are the same. So if you just check the instructions here, as you can see, we can take the various different translucent pieces off of the machine and they can double up as armor for our figure. Just going to start taking all of this translucent plastic off, and I am on tiptoes at the moment. I am absolutely terrified of breaking anything else. I try and be as careful as possible. I've been wanting to get this out for such a long time, and to have it literally fall apart on me is devastating, truly devastating. Right, there we go. That's the machine part there. We can bring in our figure, and minus one of the arms, we'll start putting his translucent armor on. There's one. We've got these pieces that go over the knees. These peg in to the back. This pegs in on his chest like this. There we go, and we've got a staff for him to hold, made up of all of these parts. There we go. He is looking kind of funky there, isn't he? I seem to be missing one of these as well. One would only assume it must have fell out of the box over time, and I just wasn't aware. That's kind of frustrating as well. It's definitely not on him anywhere. I don't appear to have knocked it on the floor, but other than that, the review's going well, isn't it? Now, with or without the armor, the mirror machine acts as kind of a flying device. We can just rotate these around, and we have the poles located on either end. They just jet out, and these can either be stood on, or there's some handles located just on the shoulder sections of the torso, and they kind of act as scuba gear, so I can just fly through. But for the purpose of this review, I'm going to disengage this. I'm going to flip these around and remove these sections, and this will inevitably form the upper torso and head. Next up is the 02. This is the Machine Stinger. So let's open up this side panel, and this, remove the card. Again, we get the selection of hands on there, exactly the same as what we got with the last one, and we can see that the Stinger can be used again as kind of like an aquatic diving device there, and we can also use this as armor. I'm not going to put the armor on this figure just because I am terrified of these snapping now, but as you can see, it does literally just hook over, and this Microman figure appears to be a female, but we'll take a closer look. As before, this does feel very brittle indeed. The head sculpt is again exceptional, considering this is in this kind of chrome It looks fantastic. Love the ponytail laying down there, and this one has 2 arms. The articulation is going to be exactly the same. It's a stunning looking figure. Obviously we get the Takara trademark on her bottom, and we can double up her machine as armor. Let's just take a look at the Stinger. Again, huge amount of chrome used in these. Look at that. This is just a fingerprint magnet. Either that or a disaster waiting to happen. Right, we can take this piece off and this piece off. This panel here comes out as well, as to does this huge sword looking piece. Guess what that's going to become. Let's just slowly work that off. There we go. And this part has also come away. It should, there we go, it just tabs in, but this can actually double up as a sword for your Microman as well. And we take this larger piece and we bring in what was the torso, and this marry up with this and this. Hole, 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 hole. So we're going to tab these all together and hope for the best. There we go, that's tabbed in there as well. We can then bring in this piece of the armor, and I believe this goes on to the back of the head like so, and then we bring in these guns and they marry up to that back section like that and like that. And now we've got those back cannons on, we can take apart the weapons that we got with BM01, pop those on each side of here, and they are going to just tab in to the back there. We bring in this chest plate, and that's going to form the visor for the front of the mech head. Just push. Next up we have 03, the Machine Tiger. Right, let's take a look at our Microman first. Again, we have another female. Really nice looking figures. If I wasn't so terrified of snapping these, I could get these in the most outstanding poses. I love the kind of mechanical look to their legs as well. It's kind of like they're bio-engineered or some form of kind of android. Here she is on the Machine Tiger. This is my favourite of the 3. It's kind of like trike. It's got the armor plating as we've seen on the other figures, but we also have a wheel that can turn left and right. She's got a nice little steering column there and some handlebars, and these can flip out to the side or to the front, so she can chop things down as she goes. We've got some more pegs on the back there so she can be accompanied by her colleagues, and the wheels roll remarkably well. Just look at that gleam there. Definitely my favourite of the bunch thus far. Right, there was a plastic tie holding these pieces into place. We've got the translucent plastic on here, on both sides, on that steering column and on there, but this should all stay in place, and these should just, he says, untab, untab, and work those apart. Come on, off you come. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. There we go. Right, that there should, he says, this should extend upwards like that. This here is going to come down That was terrifying. These hinges, these are on pistons here, and that was well and truly locked into place. Now this piece here comes down, and if we look, we've got this tab here that will attach to the BM04 when we get that transformed up into the lower torso. And this piece here, we can just rotate this to the side. And last but by no means least, the 04 machine Kong stand and arms as usual. It's kind of mech armory, I guess. I don't really know what it's meant to do. It's some sort of machine thing. It's just some big chunky feet, and again we have this incorporated in, forms the armor. Such a shame that time hasn't been very kind to these sets, but unfortunately that's often the way, especially with translucent plastics. They don't usually last as long. They everything's fallen apart. And here we have him out of the package. Let's take a look at our Microman first. Really nice head sculpt again. Got some awesome quiffage going on with his hair there, very much like mine. And thankfully this guy is also intact. Really, I'm a huge fan of the articulation on these, considering the age. They knock the socks off a lot of figures set in this 3 3/4 inch scale. And let's take a look at Machine Kong. We have some really big chrome plated hands or feet. We get some of the translucent plastic on here. They are currently elastitide, really yellowy plastic. We have this cage which flips open. This again is another piece of translucent. This comes away, so it all forms the armor. The idea is there's 2 pegs on the back here. They correspond with the 2 pegs on there, so we can put him in like so, and he can hold on to that, and then this piece can go back on like that. That's kind of what we've got there. Not really a fan of that. Like I said, the vehicles are a bit iffish in my opinion. It's the combined mode and the individual figures, I think, that make this line shine. Let's just disengage him from the back there. Said easier said than done. Never had to tiptoe around a selection of figures as much as I have with these. And as with most of these figures, they do have a secondary mode. You can kind of sit him down there, take the arm off here, and this doubles up as a kind of bike stroke car thingy. If we just take this off either side like so, you want to get this piece here. You can have your Microman attached at this point. He just hangs using those 2 back retaining pegs, but for me, I'm personally not going to have a pilot in this yet. You want to bring in the torso, bring this in. This is going to slide in, and that should just push and tab in like so. This is going to come up, and that's going to tab in over this front panel piece like that. Now with that attached, we can then bring in the legs, and they're just going to slide in with a little bit of force, not a tremendous amount, nothing to make me wince any more than I already have been. Checking out the back, we can bring in that wheel piece. That's going to just drop down and peg in between these 2 rear cannons, and I'm just going to keep this rubber tab on here. It just holds the armor in place from what I can see. It doesn't affect the articulation or anything at all, and I just don't want to lose anything else on this. So we can bring the hands down, we can rotate the arms around, and then this section here is going to slide on to the arm peg like so, and the same with the other side. Just rotate that bend, bring that up and slide that back on, and there we have the fully combined mech. Here we have the fully completed mega mech, as I'm going to call him. I could probably drop these hands down further or have the arms extend a bit if I was to undo these tabs, but I really am terrified of doing that. So this here can convert into a gun by bringing this down, and apparently it's meant to fit in this hand. So let's see. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but I believe it's just a matter of wrapping fingers around it. There doesn't appear to be any real tabs in there, and the same goes with the sword, although the sword itself does have a small circular peg, so we can peg that directly into the hand and then close off those fingers and then just rotate as needed. It's a bit like the loader from Aliens, isn't it? Only done in chrome and fragile plastic. But there you go. It's not terrible. I will be putting it on display in my cabinet, locked away where weather, time and children will not be able to get a hold of it. That doesn't want to tab in that hand at all. I'm looking forward to fixing my poor one-armed Microman as well. Let's just bring these in. I'm glad that I've opened it, and I'm glad that I've got it out and had a chance to play around with it, but don't get me wrong, it has upset me slightly that it kind of fell apart. It's really not what I had in mind, but let's just move these figures to one side, and I'm going to take the gun out because that's not going to stay in. Let's just actually see exactly what we've got here. Right, the head can look left and right and can kind of wobble around, but that's all we've got really. And the plastic, they just keep popping off. Nothing really pegs in very well, which is unfortunate. The arms, you'll see here as I go through this, every single piece of translucent plastic will just pop off. They don't stay in place. They're ratcheted arms, and already we've started to get chrome wear on there. They come out to the side, which is nice. There's an upper shoulder rotation as well, which brings the arms left and right. We don't have any upper bicep rotation, but we do get rotation on the elbow. We can bring it up and down, or we can tilt it inwards and outwards there. With the hand itself can go inwards and outwards, rotate left and right, and we have individually articulated fingers and a ball jointed thumb. The waist is locked into place. This is all going to fall off. The legs can come forwards and backwards on a nice soft ratchet. They can kind of come out to the side. That's actually a spring-loaded joint in here. There is a... Oh my goodness! It's all falling apart! There is a bend on the knee. That straightens up. Coming down to the feet, they can tilt forwards and backwards. Again, we've got these pistons on here which do move and interact with it. No real tilt on there, but considering the age and considering what this thing is made of, I am more than happy with the articulation that's included. And here he is alongside some of my other action figures for one of the most random size comparisons I think I've ever done. We've got some Diaclone In there we've got some converters, we have some unrustables, and we have some superhuman samurai cyber squad. Yeah, that gives you a rough idea of how big this set is. I hope you found the video useful. I can recommend this set if you can get it for a reasonable price. Just please be so patient with it. The plastic pieces will pop off and fire all over the floor. I am less abled than most, so I have to get help every time this thing explodes, so it is a bit of a mission. But its shelf presence is fantastic. The light hits it, it gleams, and it really does hit all of those nostalgia feels. If you'd like to see me review this dude, then make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment in the comments section below. He's one of my favourite figures of all time, and I think it's about time he got some 4K footage. Until next time, from myself and the Microman Bio Machine, thanks for watching, goodbye.